Have you ever made a decision you instantly regretted? A choice that came back to haunt you in the most unbelievable way? Well, my story is one of those. A tale of a single life-altering mistake. It's about the man I rejected because I thought he was poor, who is now my boss's billionaire son. Let's rewind 5 years. I was with Daniel. To me, he was just a guy with big dreams and an empty wallet. He was kind, funny, and he adored me. But in my eyes, that wasn't enough. I was young and foolish, convinced that money was the key to happiness and security. I remember the day I ended things so clearly. We were sitting in his beat-up car, the engine rattling. I looked at him and said the words that would echo in my mind for years. I couldn't do this anymore, Daniel. We have no future. There's no future with someone who has nothing. The pain in his eyes was sharp, but I ignored it. I chose a different path. One I thought was paved with gold, and left him behind without a second glance. I quickly started dating a wealthy man, believing I had secured my perfect life. Fast forward to today, or rather a few weeks ago. My life didn't exactly turn out like the fairy tale I had imagined. The rich man? That relationship fizzled out, leaving me with nothing but expensive memories. Now I'm just Clara, a regular employee at a large corporation, grinding away in a cubicle, trying to make ends meet. It's ironic, isn't it? I chased wealth and ended up in a 9-to-5 job, just like everyone else. Life was monotonous, a cycle of emails, meetings, and deadlines. I had accepted my fate, or so I thought. Then came the big announcement. Our company had a new CEO taking over. The entire office was buzzing. Rumors flew that he was the son of the founder, a mysterious heir who had been working his way up from the bottom, incognito. Everyone was excited, hoping for a positive change, maybe a raise. We were all summoned to the main conference room for the official introduction. I stood in the back, sipping my lukewarm coffee, barely paying attention. The current CEO was giving a grand speech building up the arrival of our new leader. Please join me in giving a warm welcome to our new CEO, he announced. The doors at the front of the room swung open. A man in a perfectly tailored suit walked in, exuding an aura of confidence I'd never seen before. He walked to the podium, and as he turned to face the crowd, my heart stopped. My coffee cup slipped from my hand and clattered to the floor, but I barely noticed. The room went silent in my head. It couldn't be. It was impossible. But there he was. Older, more polished, but unmistakably him. It was Daniel. My mind raced. How? The unemployed broke Daniel I knew was now the CEO of the company I worked for. The billionaire's son. It felt like a scene from a movie. I wanted to disappear, to melt into the floor. He scanned the room, his eyes calm and collected, and then for a split second, his gaze met mine. There was no flicker of surprise, just a cool, unreadable expression. He knew I was there. My blood ran cold. The rest of the meeting was a blur. I heard words like innovation, growth, and vision, but they all sounded like gibberish. My only thought was, he's my boss. The man I had thrown away for not having money now owned the company that paid my salary. After what felt like an eternity, the meeting ended. People started to file out, chattering excitedly about our new handsome CEO. I stayed frozen in my spot, trying to process the sheer shock of it all. Just as I was about to slip out unnoticed, his assistant approached me. Ms. Clara, Mr. Daniel would like to see you in his office. Of course he did. My legs felt like jelly as I made the long walk to the top floor, to the grand corner office that was now his. Shh. Each step was a step toward the past I had tried so hard to bury. I knocked on the door, my hand trembling. Come in, a familiar voice called out. I stepped inside. The office was huge, with a panoramic view of the city, and there he was, standing by the window, looking out at the empire he now commanded. He turned to face me, and the casual, easygoing boy I once knew was gone. In his place was a powerful man, his expression serious. Clara, he said, his voice even. It's been a while. I could barely find my voice, Daniel. I don't understand. He gestured for me to sit, but I remained standing. It's simple, really, he began, his voice calm, but with an edge of steel. My father wanted me to understand the value of hard work, to learn the business from the ground up. More importantly, he wanted me to find someone who would love me for who I was, not for my family's name or fortune. He paused, letting the weight of his words sink in. So I lived a simple life. I wanted to see if I could find genuine love. I thought I had found it with you. My throat was tight. Daniel, I was testing you, Clara. He cut me off, his voice hardening slightly. I was going to tell you everything. I had the ring. I was planning to propose the week you left me. He let out a short, humorless laugh. But you made your choice crystal clear. You told me there was no future with a poor man. You chose money over me. The silence in the room was deafening. Every word was a dagger, twisting the guilt that was already consuming me. Tears welled up in my eyes. I was a fool, I whispered, the words I'd been too proud to admit for years. I was so stupid and materialistic. I've regretted it every single day, seeing you now. I realize what I threw away. Please, Daniel. Can you give me another chance? I've changed. I took a step toward him, my heart filled with a desperate hope. He looked at me, and for a moment I saw a flash of the old Daniel, the man who had loved me, but it vanished as quickly as it appeared. He shook his head slowly. I'm sorry, Clara, but no. His words were final. You see this, he said, gesturing around the lavish office. All of this can be bought. You can buy a company. You can buy a lifestyle. But you can't buy back a person's trust. You can't buy an honest heart. He looked at me, not with anger, but with a kind of sad finality. I learned my lesson from you, and I've moved on. I found someone who loves me for me, my fiancée. You'll probably meet her at the company gala. That was the final blow, fiancé. He had moved on and found the happiness I had denied him. I had nothing left to say. I mumbled an apology and turned to leave, my entire world crashing down around me. As I walked out of his office, I knew I couldn't stay there. I couldn't work for him, constantly reminded of my monumental mistake. That day, I submitted my resignation. Leaving that job was the best decision I've made in a long time. I realized Daniel was right. I had spent so many years chasing the wrong things. I traded love for the idea of wealth, and in the end, I had neither. I moved to a smaller apartment, took a simpler job, and started rebuilding my life from a place of authenticity. It's not glamorous, but it's real. I'm learning to value people over possessions and connection over currency. My encounter with Daniel was a painful but necessary wake-up call. It taught me that true wealth isn't in a bank account. It's in the love you give and the integrity you live by. And that's a lesson I will never forget. Thank you for listening to my story. If you've ever faced a tough lesson in life, I'd love to hear about it in the comments. Don't forget to like and subscribe for more stories about life's unexpected twists and turns. See you next time.